Good evening. The worst case of postnatal depression I've ever heard of. That's how a coroner has described the case of a woman from Wiltshire whose battle with the illness led to her tragic death.
Emma Cadywold's body was found beside a railway line in South Marston 6 months after the birth of her son. She'd been struck by a high-speed train.
Her family say they were pleased the inquest verdict wasn't suicide because this will allow them to take the case further. Martin Dowse explains.
The assistant coroner for Wiltshire and Swindon described Emma Cadywould as suffering from the worst case of postnatal depression he'd ever come across in this court. She and her husband, a major in the army, had had a son, Harrison, in June 2011. But Emma had found the weeks after his birth difficult. He couldn't seem to get into a feeding routine and would wake up to 20 times a night. At an earlier inquest hearing, her husband Stephen had described how she'd struggled to cope and deteriorated mentally. She'd had contact with her local community mental health team. But on December the 16th, 2011, after taking her son to nursery, she went to a railway bridge just outside Swindon, where she was struck by the London to Bristol train travelling at more than 100 miles an hour. Today, with members of Emma's family in court, the Assistant Coroner Peter Hatverney ruled out a verdict of suicide, instead giving a narrative verdict because he said he couldn't be certain beyond doubt that Emma intended to take her own life, a verdict that Emma's family had been hoping for.
It was important for them because it's the family's belief that Emma didn't want to die, and a suicide verdict in this instance just wouldn't have been appropriate. Emma had particularly severe postnatal depression, and it's an illness that's potentially devastating, so it's quite important that that women that suffer from postnatal depression receive prompt and appropriate specialist support as early as possible.
Emma's family believe she didn't get the medical care and support that she needed for her condition, and that many other women in this country are in a similar situation. Her sister Lucy issued this statement. She says, "The narrative verdict the coroner has given is the best verdict that we as a family could expect. We feel very strongly that too many beautiful mothers are losing their lives against this silent killer." And Emma's solicitors confirm that they are now exploring with the family what civil legal options may be open to them. Martin Dowse, ITV News, Salisbury.